Well, this continues to have people talking tonight. The world's richest man has launched a bid to take over Twitter, a move that could have broad implications and one that critics call the social network's worst nightmare. Musk has often criticized Twitter, saying it restricts certain content. He says the platform needs a complete transformation, one that he also says he's willing to spearhead as a self-identified free speech absolutist. Correspondent Nancy Liu is live tonight in LA for us. Nancy, Musk is already one of Twitter's biggest individual shareholders, but he has since thrown in this offer, this big $43 billion offer to buy the whole platform, telling Twitter, you better take it or leave it.
That's exactly what he told them. And this is a $43 billion cash offer, with Musk wanting to take that company private. Now, Twitter held an all-hands meeting today and has yet to respond to the offer, which Musk has said is take it or leave it. The world's richest man dropped the major new Twitter twist in an early morning post, which read, "I made an offer," the link leading to his SEC filing an offer to buy 100% of Twitter. He closed by saying, "My offer is my best and final offer, and if it is not accepted, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder. Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it." Many agree about untapped potential.
What's interesting is that people are complaining that that doesn't value the company to what it's worth. And I think that's exactly the point. Usage on Twitter hasn't grown to the level that it could. And for someone like Elon, who has certainly transformed other industries, I think that the reaction from the marketplace will be quite positive.
Reaction has been widespread, with differing opinions and a hint that the deal might be derailed. A Saudi prince, who's one of Twitter's biggest shareholders, rejected the offer, saying it doesn't come close to the company's intrinsic value. Others chimed in about Twitter censorship, fueling hope among conservatives of a future Twitter return for former President Trump. Investors everywhere are tracking what Musk will do next.
We see with the history of Mr. Musk that being disruptive has generally led to him being extremely constructive in several industries, and now he's looking to do this in the communications industry.
In today's meeting, Twitter executives reportedly tried to calm employee concerns. According to various accounts, CEO Parag Agrawal said that Twitter is not being held hostage and that everything will work out as it should. Marnie?
What else is he going to say, Nancy? All right, exactly. Thank you. Carol Roth is a business strategist of a Fortune 500 companies, multiple, and a former investment banker, and she joins us as a guest tonight. Carol, appreciate your time. Was this Musk's plan all along, become the biggest shareholder and then swoop in and buy it?
You know, it's always hard to know what Elon Musk is thinking, because on one hand, he likes to kind of troll and rile people up. But on the other hand, he's a serious businessman and he's been talking about free speech. I think when he put his stake out and the Twitter board or the Twitter management team and board have offered him a board seat, that was meant to cap his shareholding. And the fact that he turned that down, that turned many of us in the financial community on to the fact that, no, he was pretty serious about making a buyout offer.
Do you think, Carol, that he's really thought through the challenges and what it would take to take over Twitter, the job of monitoring content?
You know, I do. I mean, this is a man who has founded many companies. He currently has his hands in a number of successful companies. So if anybody knows how to run multiple companies and create value, it is him. I don't imagine that if he were successful in taking it over, that he'd be the one running it day to day. I think that he'd be putting in people who believe in the concept of free speech and have a little bit of a different take than the current management team at Twitter currently does.
Why not just start up his own?
Investment banking, you always look at building or buying. And in this case, you know, Twitter is a very sticky network. People already have their followers locked in. And we've seen a number of upstarts, you know, the Parlors of the world, the Gab, Truth Social from former President Trump. It's very hard to get that same level of traction. Twitter is a beloved product. Many of us, myself included, spend far too much time on it. it. And so I think that Musk feels that it's easier to fix and probably some pretty small tweaks to what already exists than trying to build something from scratch.
A beloved product, you're right, and I'm also on Twitter, as are most of us, but they did report a loss of $221 million in 2021. I'm not going to try to say that 3 times fast. But let me ask you about this. The term aggressive hostile takeover was thrown around today. Is that what this is? Is the board forced into a corner? No.
I mean, so basically, this hasn't been a hostile takeover. He has presented it to management and to the board. If they reject it, then he can go hostile. Then he can go out to the shareholders with a tender offer or with a proxy fight. The Twitter board and management team will probably fight back, putting in place a shareholder rights plan, something that's commonly known as a poison pill. So it could get a little bit ugly and very grab your popcorn-ish should they turn it down. But as fiduciaries, this is a stock that hasn't done a lot since its IPO. It went up, it came back down. But if you go back to where this was, the day that it closed on the IPO, without Musk's and bumping up the share price here, you really haven't made much on the stock.
Well, and we did see shares kind of drop a little bit today, which generally can indicate that investors aren't real confident that a deal will go through. Do you think that it will come to fruition?
It's so hard to predict. This is one of those things that could be very expensive and time consuming and could drag out for a long time. Musk certainly has allies in the shareholder base. He's being advised by Morgan Stanley. Their asset management division happens to own a very large percentage of the shares, about 8.4%. He has a friendly board member that he's done dealings with before. So, it is possible, but if they don't accept the offer as fiduciaries, if they for some reason think they have all of this value to unlock that they haven't been able to do in years, it really could drag out for quite some time.
Well, if anything, we can expect the news to break nowhere else other than Twitter. Carol Roth, we'll be watching closely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.